Does Indy have everything? I've actually never been asked that question, but I've certainly been asked the question, does Indianapolis have what we need? And then we go through the things that they need. And it's not necessarily like, hey, grocery stores, does it have grocery stores? Although I've been asked if there are many of them, and I think it's bigger than what people realize, and absolutely, we've got a lot of grocery stores, but we get into different categories of what people need. So does it have everything? Probably not, but we need to figure out if it has everything enough, and I'll explain what I mean in this video, so stay tuned. Hey everybody, I'm Jason Compton with Living in Indianapolis and the Living in Indianapolis team. Welcome back to the channel, and if it's your first time here, welcome to you. So we're talking about everything in this video apparently, just because this is a topic that came up recently in 3 different conversations in a really short time span. So everything, let's just define what everything actually is first. And it's an interesting definition. So if you look it up in dictionary, usually everything, it's either all that exists, which we know is impossible for any place, but the other definition is really interesting. So it's all that relates to a subject. So it's everything that relates to a subject, whatever that might be, any subject that you're talking about. So Indianapolis, or any one of the cities that surround Indianapolis, does it have everything? Well, now we're getting into opinion territory. So I think part of that opinion is, what do you need? And that would be, what do you need on a daily basis? What do you need throughout an entire year? What do you need individually? What do you need as a family? What do you like to do? What do you like to see? All of those things. So of course, this is an opinion, and it's very different based on who it is that you're talking to. Now, Indianapolis and all the surrounding cities, I don't live in Indianapolis. I live in Greenwood, Indiana, but super close to Indianapolis. So usually when I'm someplace else in the world or someplace else in the country and they ask where I'm from, I say Indianapolis because people know Indianapolis and it's close enough. We share a border with it, and I feel like it's really all super connected. With Indianapolis, it has everything that I and my family need. I don't think we could exist in a place that is super, super small very easily. Super small meaning 1,000 people, 5,000 people. I would struggle with that some. While I like living where we do, which has a little bit of a rural feel, at heart, I'm kind of a city boy, and I do like having a lot more people around. So it would be difficult for me. So Indy definitely has that. It has what I need. Does it have absolutely everything that I want? Of course not. No, it doesn't. There's some other things that I would love to have, like a public transport system. I'd like to have that because occasionally, I wouldn't use it all the time, but I would use it. I would use it sometimes. You know, silly, goofy opinion things. Other than that, of course, I would want it. Would I want some mountains nearby? Sure, that'd be great. I don't need them nearby because we can always go to them. And even if they were nearby, I mean, I'm old enough now to be realistic about some of the things that even Indianapolis has. And am I really going to use that? That's actually something that comes up quite a bit when people are looking at other cities they think are in the metro, the Indianapolis metro, but they're really not. They're a little outside of it. Well, you're going to be far enough away to where I don't think you're going to come to Indy as much as you think you will. It's going to be just a little too far, take a little too long, and be a little too inconvenient. So it has everything that I need, and what I need may not be what you need. So I'm certainly never trying to sell Indy on somebody. It's always just, what are the good things about Indianapolis, or what are the good things about a lot of the cities around it, but also what are some of the things that you might find to be a negative or just aren't going to be a fit for you. So I find so many criticisms of different cities around Indy and Indy itself as funny because they're just opinions. And people going over the top about how great Indy is, other people might find that funny too because it is just an opinion and you can poke holes in it any way that you want. So if Indy isn't right for you, I don't think you should be here. If it is right for you, you still may not need to be here because there might be 10 other cities that are right for you. So here's what I would say. I would say it's up to you, but you need to gather information. Gather information and decide for yourself. You first need to make sure you know what you need. And when we talk about your potential relocation here, that's going to be the number one thing. What do you need? And especially what do you need on a daily basis? What is it you're looking for? Because it's not always the same. And if what you need matches up here, great. You maybe start need to narrow things down a little bit because it's always bigger than what people think, the whole city and everything surrounding it. But if it's not, we need to say, hey, we don't really have that, or this is going to be a little bit difficult for you, so you probably should consider that. So I wouldn't write off any place until I really saw it for myself. But I would come in there armed with certainly a list of things that are important and that you're going to need, and that if you don't have any one of those things, it's going to make things really difficult for you to live. Like I said, with a super, super small town for me, it would be difficult. I know there'd be things that I probably would need, otherwise I'm gonna fall apart. Flying on his e-bike. So that's a great start. Knowing what you need, then having a conversation from there. And then from there, we have tools to help you figure out the rest. So for one, we have an entire process of what it looks like, step 1, step 2, step 3, to relocate to a place like Indianapolis, and we call it the Living In Framework. But we also have our exploration app, which is part of that. And we put it together based on conversations exactly like this. So how do you get to know a place like, let's say Carmel, Indiana, or Greenwood, Indiana, or Avon, Indiana? Where do I go to figure out the personality so I know that it has what I need? Or even if I live there and there's a neighboring town or city, can I live in one, and between the two, or maybe three, does it have what we're going to need? So that exploration app takes you through what the differences are in personality of all the different cities. Because if you come here, again, it's so big, or at least it's big enough that a lot of it, I mean, a place like this isn't going to, but a lot of it is just going to look the same. And that's a problem that you're going to find across a lot of cities in the country. It's the United States. So unless it has some dramatically different look to it, you may not really know which city you're in, unless there's a landmark in there as well. So how do you do that? Well, if you go to a place like Plainfield or Fishers, you have to look for those landmarks to know the differences. But outside the landmarks, what are the tinier differences that make up the personality? And does that fit with what you need? That is a much bigger thing to solve. And so this app is something that helps with that. So if you have questions about our Living In Framework, or the exploration app that's part of that, which is free to use, then make sure you reach out any way you know how, and we'll catch you in the next one.